Yo, welcome to another episode of the B-Side Podcast. This is yours, host, truly. I'm going to work it out. I'm still working out. Once again, Rob, Bobby Sellers. Hey, we got a good show today. We got one of my colleagues coming in the joint. We're going to catch up on what we've been missing. And also, he got a good job out here as far as what he created, as far as the company in the trucking industry. So, hey, stay tuned. We coming at you. B-Side Podcast. Yes, without further ado, thanks for tuning in. We're running a little late. We had some technical difficulties, but we're going to work it out. But anyway, without no further introduction, this is one of my guys, one of my colleagues, at Colorado State. This was my number 3 guy, Hot Nickels, my man, Delmont Madison. Hey, Del, what's been up, man?
Not much, B. I appreciate you for having me, brother. I'm excited. I'm excited to converse with you.
Any time, man. And then, yo, man, just a real quick flash, man. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm in the coaching game now, man. I'm coaching at a local high school, man. The freshmen and dudes, it's bringing up so many memories when we was on the court, man. Mm-hmm. So many, you know, because each and every time I see my man Penny Hardaway with Memphis State, first thing that comes to mind is my man Delmont. Always. People, y'all don't understand here, man. This dude was a freak of nature. What I mean is, the dude had handles, defense, shooting, and he would dunk on your ass. No question. No question. People forget. My man, how tall are you, Dale? What, 6'5", 6'6"?
6'5".
6'5", man. Yeah. All I had to do is pass it forward. Hot Nicks, that's what we used to call him, Hot Nickels. Hot Nicks was going to get it done. You know what I mean? So I had to throw that caveat out there, man, because, hey, I'm out here with these kids, man. It's just bringing back so many memories, man, when we was on the court, man.
Well, that's what's up. I can only imagine. To be honest with you, I can't wait. If I fast forward a little bit, I look forward to getting back into the game myself. So
okay,
the feeling is like none other. It's the closest thing to being back out there, watching it come to fruition with the kids. So I love it.
Yeah, man. The only thing I don't hate is when I'm seeing him out there working and falling down and shit. All my knees is like, ooh, I'm so glad I'm not out there on the court. That's the only thing. That's the only thing, man. Yeah. Hey, man, have you know what? And it's crazy now how pretty much all the CSU games are televised now, man. Pretty much they're with the CBS network. So I'm catching them each and every time that they're on the court, man. Have you seen any games this season?
I've seen a few. The ones that I caught were generally during the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
So out on, I'm on the East, obviously, and I'm in Atlanta currently. But that's pretty much when I'm able to get exposed to really what's going on with the school. You know, with me traveling a lot, I try to catch as much as I can, but generally during March. Definitely. And I look forward to upcoming March for us to link up and have our. What is it? 30 years out of how many years has it been?
Hey man, it's been since '96. Chief.
Yeah. So I look forward to the reunion, man. I look forward to us linking up in March. So,
yeah, man. And before we even start, man, just a shout out to our fellow colleague, man, Craig Conger. We heard he passed away this past Friday, I want to say. Mm-hmm. My condolences to Craig Conger, his family, and his loved ones, man. That was definitely a shock. Not only a shock, but, we just have to come to realization that we're getting older and that, tomorrow's not promised to anybody, let alone us. And, I'm glad that you mentioned that this coming March, we're going to try to get together because, hey, man, we don't know, when the mighty good Lord is going to take us up out of here, man. So, shout out to the Conger family and all our colleagues out there in mourning, man. That dude was hilarious. Do you have any Craig Conger stories? Did you know him personally?
Actually, I probably in passing, but as far as me really having a relationship with him, I didn't get an opportunity. I wasn't fortunate enough to forge a relationship with him. I heard about him. And my condolences as well to his family. Yeah. But I've heard a lot of great things about him. So and he's a part of he's a part of the
Part of
family.
the
So
family, man.
it's all love.
Yeah, man, he was the biggest dude I've seen as far as I played with. As far as he was a big dude, man. I remember we were in the weight room, man, first time meeting him, and I'm thinking the dude was on the football team because this dude was curling slabs, man. I'm like, that's a big dude. I said he gonna be punishing cats on the football field. So I probably knowing me went up introduced myself, man, and he's like, "Nah, I'm on the basketball team." I said, "Oh, okay." Okay, we definitely have a bully on the team,
Yeah,
no
we could have
question,
used
man.
him as well in '96.
Oh, we could have used him, man.
Him,
But yeah,
Chili,
man.
and Joe. Yeah, would have
Yeah,
been a
hey,
beautiful
man. There's
team.
some crazy stories. Craig was hilarious, man. Big dude, gentle giant. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that he's gonna be missed, man. He's gonna be missed. He's always
Definitely.
made people laugh, and don't get it twisted. He would bust on you, no
Hmm.
question. You know
I
what I'm saying?
heard.
That's definitely some of the things that the brothers rubbed off on him. He was do not come in there acting crazy or thinking you quiet. He will bust on you. We've
Wow,
had
that's what's up.
sessions when him and John Laster, another fellow alum and colleague, as you know,
Mhm.
John Laster, hilarious comedian, but there's no question, man. We've had some of the biggest, baddest, meanest bag sessions you could ever imagine.
Wow.
So, hey, man, we're just going to, give it up on a positive note.
Mhm.
And like I said, man, I'm definitely looking forward to all of us gathering in Vegas this coming March. All
Absolutely.
right. So let's get into the nitty gritty of things, man. So, Delmont, quick question here. You're in the trucking industry, right? We're gonna go into dive into obviously your company and everything that you're coming along with it in the year 2023. My question is this, man: what made you even get in the trucking industry?
I know it's kind of interesting coming from the game of basketball, but there's so many different views I had about transitioning from the game, and it's actually one of the things. One of my biggest regrets as an athlete is not making sure that I had things in place while I was playing, so that my transition from the game and my exit strategy would be a lot easier to move into.
Yes.
So unfortunately, I kind of bounced around a little bit shortly after finishing, but I got locked in on the idea of putting something together that my daughters could benefit from.
Yeah.
Leaving a legacy became something that was at the forefront of my mind. Although I have a master's degree and was in education and all that, I definitely had to be realistic about the fact that you just simply can't pass down a 9 to 5. So I wanted to develop something that my daughters and hopefully their kids could benefit from. And it stemmed from a conversation, to be quite honest. There was another cat. His name is Byron Bell.
Okay.
Byron Bell was a gentleman I became friends with in Australia when we took a trip out to Perth, Australia, with Athletes in Action several years ago. And we ended up playing him. We built a relation of friendship. Come to find out, we were in the same city of Atlanta several years ago, and I ran into him while he was in the midst of work. He owned a transportation company, but he had box trucks. So he
Got
was
you.
delivering appliances to some of the individuals that were already some of my clients in another industry. And he started to give me details about how lucrative it was, what I needed to do to kind of put things in place. And I took that and committed myself after I devised a nice plan. And I went for it. I hit the ground running. Haven't looked back since.
No doubt. Sometimes that is the best learning experience. It's just cold turkey, whatever you got to do. Just jump into the ocean, man. Just jump in the
Absolutely.
water and see what happens, man. If you're
Absolutely.
going to think or you're going to swim. Either or, there's always some lessons to take from it, regardless of if you fail, if you're achieving, or if you stay afloat. And that's definitely always interesting because you know what? I was just listening to a podcast. Matter of fact, it was Drink Champs, and they had what's the brother's name? They had 19 Keys on there. I want to say, what was the guy's name? I can't think of the name. There's two brothers, Leisure something. I forgot. I messed it all up. But anyway, they were talking about how, they're from New York City, and they were talking about how they wasn't even had the mind frame to notice that, okay, they're seeing all this transportation, whether it's box trucks, whether it's delivery trucks, whether it's semis, whatever the case may be. They were saying how they didn't see it till later on in life, like, wait a minute here. That's a company that's transporting products, goods, and services. And like, there's somebody behind that, you know, and there's a lot of money behind that.
Absolutely.
Now, do you see a lot of brothers and sisters out there right now
I do.
in this business?
I do. And to be quite frank, the industry, I mean, a long time ago, there wasn't very many of us in the industry, to be quite honest with you. As time went on, more brothers like myself and you decided to take a chance at the industry itself, but there were limitations to it. And at that particular time, and an old head that I eventually became friends with told me that there was a time when they wouldn't let brothers like you and I drive over the road. They would only keep us locally. So it took
Got you.
quite a while for us to really understand the trucking and transportation dynamic and how lucrative it could be if you made, solid decisions. So I decided to, no matter what, I was starting from scratch. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I looked at it, the same way I did the game of basketball. I knew that if I applied myself with the same passion, the same drive, and the same energy that I did the game, that I wouldn't lose. But I started from the ground up. I wanted to make sure that I understood every level of it.
That's right. That's right, man. And it is kind of crazy because I do the same thing, been balled forever, sports, and I try to put that in my life work too, whether it's even from me just meditating, prayers, and actually going out here, setting a plan, setting goals, going the right way as far as getting your paperwork done to get your right business's license, paperwork with all that paperwork and dot your I's and cross your T's, metaphors and whatnot.
Certifications.
Exactly. Going the right way. You know what I mean? Making sure that, we don't take no shortcuts.
Doing good business.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You got to handle it. Sometimes it's very slow. Sometimes it's meticulous. Sometimes it's just flat out boring. However,
Absolutely.
if you make those necessary sacrifices at the beginning, it'll be easier and easier along the way. And also, you can also give out this information to the others who are interested in, whatever career path you're going. Now, as far as, you got a big heart, Dale. And I noticed that, go online, go ahead and give them your handle as far as on your social media accounts so they can follow you.
Oh, okay. With social media, my IG is Intrigue Services, INTRIGUE Services. And Facebook is the same, Intrigue Services. So those are, available at any given moment. And the website is Intrigue, INTRIGUE, S as in Sam, VCS.com. That's my actual website. If anyone was interested in the course and any other items that we may be having available actually pretty soon. We'll have some other product, educational product out there as well.
No doubt. Now, obviously, we discussed how you got in the trucking industry. Now, what would you say to those, obviously, who want to get in the trucking game? What are some of the vital things that are important that they should know as far as getting into it?
When I started, the interesting thing is, I had the conversation with my friend Byron, but there were no online courses. There was no material. There were no resources out there really to guide me. So I really dived in head first and just tried to learn as much as I could, starting from the ground up. And I knew that my experience would be the best teacher. The time has gone by, things have changed, things have evolved. We have access to a lot now. So my best advice would be to get with someone that you trust, someone that that has some solid experience behind them, with someone that has put in the work and can speak from firsthand experience, and see if you can tap in with them, whether they have courses available. Because if I could have made a $200 investment
Mm-hmm.
to cut my path 2-3 years shorter.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was more than worth it. But it
Yeah.
took me several years to get to where I am now. But of course, it was based on the experience that I was getting, which took quite a while for me to figure out on my own. And while in the midst of my travels, I did a lot of asking questions to other drivers, so on and so forth. But
Uh-huh.
most importantly, find a source that you can tap into educationally. Um, it's more than worth the investment, and also have a mentor. If you can connect with someone that you can actually pick up the phone and ask real questions and get real answers so that you can cut that time, just cut to the chase.
No doubt.
It helps so much. But also someone that's going to give you realistic and honest feedback.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times uh, drivers, carriers, owner operators, sometimes they're not really open and truly honest about
Yeah.
numbers, about
Yeah.
the actual experience, because it's one thing to give people information based on, how much money you can make,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of sacrifice that come with it. I mean,
Yeah.
sacrifices from your health, from time away from your family. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, your diet is thrown off tremendously.
Yeah.
You're working during holidays. I mean, I can go on and on. There's a lot of sacrifice that come with it. So to have a realistic idea, a big picture idea of what that looks like, connecting with someone that's going to provide you with that would be definitely what works best.
No question. Now, my question is this: when you obviously going out there seeking a mentor or a coach or anything like that,
Mhm.
what are some of the ways that people can approach the meaning? Because just listening to you, and I'm sure a lot of those guys out there who have vast knowledge of information that they want to provide. Now, have you seen this? Whereas they'll give you that information only when they know that you're serious. Because I'm sure a lot of those guys aren't going to give you that information up front, especially if, like you were saying, how the first thing comes out your mouth is you just worried about the dollars. Dollars
Mhm.
this, dollars that,
Mhm.
dollars this,
Mhm.
dollars that.
Mhm.
Is there a way that some people can actually go about, I want to say, finesse their lingo to approach people, to approach possible mentor, to approach a possible coach or anything like that?
Mhm. Mhm. Um, I think it's easy to figure out whether or not someone's serious, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of their approach, because at the end of the day, I think everyone can agree that it takes money to make money.
Yes.
And if you're not even willing to make a small investment to make sure that you can retrieve some solid, information, whether it be a course, whether it be an in-person conference or whatever that you may attend, if you're not even willing to make some sort of investment, then that speaks volumes. And at the end of the day, I think that from my approach as an owner,
Exactly.
I wouldn't even hire someone unless I feel that they have the same determination,
Uh-huh.
goals,
Uh-huh.
and drive that I do, in terms of becoming an entrepreneur or being in ownership at some point. Because
Yes.
I know that he has a lot at stake. He's willing to make the sacrifices. But, someone who's just trying to get in the game and just want to sit in the seat and don't really want to elevate,
Yeah.
and be in control of their financial destiny, they may not care about your equipment as much, for example.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
someone who wants to be in business, they're going to treat it like their own. So I value that and I respect that because I was that guy,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
try to look for individuals like that. So we're able to peep it out.
No question. Uh, Another question I always was wondering, right? Especially those big rigs, right?
Mhm.
Those long trailers. That can be very intimidated for someone new into the game. How, what obstacles can people try to do to maneuver out of that mind frame? Meaning that, you know what, this rig is huge. I don't know if I can handle, or just plain out, they're just flat out scared.
Mhm.
What's some of the things that they can do to overcome those obstacles of being fear of the actual
Yeah.
truck?
Yeah, I think fear holds most of us back when it comes to stepping out on our own and developing our own lane
Hmm.
and owning our work.
Yes.
Um, I was that person. I was,
Yes.
to be honest with you, coming from the game and being a confident athlete and all that, this was a completely different lane. It was a completely different lane, and I knew nothing about it. When I say I had never been inside a truck, ever. But when I stepped into that classroom, I just knew that I was willing to do whatever it took. So I had already made, a commitment to myself that I was willing to do whatever it took, make whatever sacrifice that was going to put me in position to elevate. So my thing is, expect to be scared.
Uh-huh.
It's a new industry, but at the end of the day, you have to dive in. You have
Yes.
to dive in. You have to swim. It's not going to be perfect, but I promise you, if you put forth the effort, if you put in the work, then I promise you that you'll see results. It's not extremely difficult to pass the courses once you get in CDL school. All it takes is applying yourself, and I promise you, you'll see the results. So there's really, you know, I don't, there's no reason to doubt yourself because I think we're all capable. It's just a matter of how bad we want it.
No doubt. Now, how long did it take you to get through the CDL classes?
I went for 5 weeks, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Woo.
And it cost me somewhere at that time, that was like 2016, late 15,
Uh-huh.
16, I
Uh-huh.
spent $3,300.
Okay.
And it's a
Okay.
lot more expensive now. It's probably somewhere between 4 and 5 grand at this point. So I did a little research. I found a school in my area, and I was able also, there was a program that I was able to take advantage of that helped
Uh-huh.
me pay for half of that. A program in my in the community at the local recreation center. They had a lot
Really?
of different program opportunities, and I went to the meetings. And getting your CDL was one of those items.
Okay.
Um, they gave you information about grants. They gave you, just different pieces of information depending on what direction you wanted to go in to get certified for, driving a forklift, getting your CDL, or working in warehouses, working your way up, becoming in management. So there were a lot of things that were available to us locally. And I went to the meetings and
Uh-huh.
I was able to fill out the necessary paperwork and got qualified and got half of my CDL paid for, and then the second half, I took out a loan. And what happens is when you take out that loan and when you start working for their very first corporate company, they put you in a scenario where they withdraw a specific amount to cover your monthly payment. So every week there's a smaller amount that will total the payment for the loan that you took out on a month, and they have to pay on a monthly basis.
No question, no question. You know what? We gonna go. Not, I wouldn't even say a U-turn on this, but we're
Mhm.
gonna go on the right on this, man. You know what? I was just thinking about this the other day. Obviously, formulating some questions and ideas about our podcast. I was thinking like this. Now I don't know,
Mhm.
but there's some different ways that we can help our transportation game in this country. I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm just, maybe this is a caveat, whatever. Thinking, do you think that? I know I've seen this on. It was on the last Wolverine
Mhm.
Marvel comic series, not the actual comic, but cinema. And
Gotcha.
the last one I said, is that going to come? They had separate lanes for transportation vehicles, meaning big
Mhm.
rigs and all that. Do you
Mhm.
think that is that even possible? I mean, how
Uh,
you feel
it,
about that?
it
Because a
would be
lot of
tough.
times people out here, man, be disrespecting the big rigs out here, man.
Mhm. Mhm.
Straight up disrespecting them, meaning
Yeah.
cutting in between them, doing all types of things, not knowing that those rigs can cause mad damage.
Correct. Yeah, that's one of our biggest challenges, of course, being on the road when someone doesn't fully understand the dynamics of handling equipment that's like between 70, 80,000 pounds. They're not factoring that in when they're driving alongside of you, listening to the music. They're thinking of it in terms of a car. But the reality of it is, if you get close, if you're in front of us, it's going to take us a lot more space to actually stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, I think people, should consider being as far away from those trucks as possible, and also considering the fact that things happen. Tires blow. The
Yes.
tire, I mean, the pressure. that's within that tire. Those tires will shoot off and, hit your windshield or whatever. So I don't think it's possible, essentially, to put us in any particular lane. Right now, we're supposed to stay in the slow lane.
So the first, well, I don't know how the lanes are going, but the last two or last inside lanes, that's what you guys are supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
as far as the driver handling.
The slow lane is where generally most of us are. But there are a lot of drivers out there who like to get to where they're going.
You got that right. There's some out there getting busy.
Absolutely. But on a lot of interstates, you'll see the signs. They don't want us in the fast lane or the second lane either. So sometimes it's either one or two lanes to the left that we have to stay away from. So that's pretty much our zone over there to the right.
Yeah, so definitely not the carpool lane. If I,
Nah.
Especially out here in California, if we see a big rig in the carpool lane, something wrong, right?
Absolutely. It is, for real.
Something wrong,
They probably just got on the road like a week before that, and they're trying to figure it out. I was one of those. I was one of them. I mean, I had situations and found myself on the wrong interstate.
Yeah.
But it was just being familiar with the signage and all of that. For example, when I was in New York, I'll never forget it. Never forget it. It was
in the city, right?
2:30 in the morning. There's a lot of signage in the city.
Yes.
And there are some highways or interstates or whatever they refer to them as that semis just simply do not belong on those. They're restricted, They're prohibited from those. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
And by the time I actually started getting onto the interstate, it was too late.
Yeah.
So, and then I ended up driving up on a kind of a bridge or an overhead and realized that I wasn't going to make it. It was just too low. And that's the issue, So if you're not aware of that in advance, you find yourself in a tough situation. So to avoid an accident, I stopped literally. And the traffic had to stop with me. I dialed 911. The cops came out and they guided me so that I could back up the exit. I literally backed up here upwards up the exit and turned my trailer in the direction that would allow me to go in the direction I needed to go in.
So okay. In that situation, right? How do you calm yourself down? Meaning, you're in New York City. We already know they're gonna talk. Mm-hmm. You're gonna hear everything out of the book, every letter out of the alphabet. So how do you, because a lot of times, obviously, like you were saying, there'll be moments where panicking is the wrong thing to do. Mm-hmm. Okay, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Panic is like, okay, you know what? It's not going to be my best interest to have an out-of-body experience.
Mm-hmm. But things happen so fast, B-Dub, be quite honest with you. You don't even, we're human at the end of the day, and we don't have time to factor all those things in. And you literally have to, you need to respond. You need to react within seconds.
Yeah.
So you don't really have time to logically put things together. And that's a part of the process. That's a part of the sacrifice with learning. When you get out there, and I guess part of the reason they send newbies to some of the worst areas in the country is because the experience is more valuable than the actual money you make in the beginning of in the early stages of the game.
Yeah.
You don't make much. Weekly, I probably made between $400 and $450 after taxes.
Yeah.
And that was the first 4 months to 8 months of me being out there. So what they do, and the reason these type of situations happen often, is because they're generally rookies.
Yeah.
All over the country in some of the most complicated driving areas, trying to get the experience they need so that they can elevate in the business.
I'm sure you have a lot of situations that you've been in, but I'm sure at the end of the day, like you were saying, a rookie mistake is a rookie mistake compared to somebody who's a veteran.
Correct.
No question. And all veterans made rookie mistakes.
Mistakes
are good out there, people. Failure's good. Failure's good.
Correct.
My next question is this, man. So how many trucks do you own right now?
Right now, I own 3, and I have 5 to 6 other carriers under my umbrella. So That's what I'm looking at,
Okay.
just under 10 altogether that's operating under Intrigue Services worldwide.
Now, how explain to somebody, obviously, like I said, my questions are someone who want to be in the industry, someone who wants to be in the trucking
Mm-hmm.
industry. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when they're out, want to make their own purchases on these rigs. Now, do
Mm-hmm.
they get something brand new? Do they lease it out? Do they get something used? Tell us how you go about finding the right rig for your business.
Mm-hmm. Well, I asked a lot of questions in the beginning. I found a couple people that were owners, and some of the advice they gave me is there's a particular brand called Freightliner Cascadias. And the
Heard of
reason
Freightliner,
that they
yes.
valued Freightliner Cascadias was because all over the country, if nothing else, Freightliner Cascadia dealers are everywhere. So if you happen to break down, there's a higher percentage chance of you being able to find something locally or not too far from you that can actually work on that particular style of truck. So for me, that was vital. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
thinking if I'm in Wyoming, if I'm in Colorado, wherever, um,
Wyoming's nothing
at
pretty.
least I'll be able to pick up the phone and call a mechanic that can handle my style of truck. So that was my motivation. But they're online. Online, you can just, they're all around pretty much every city.
Uh-huh.
If you ride down the main interstates and take a look along those interstates, they are truck dealers. And what I did was I found one, and the one that I dealt with was here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of locations throughout the country. They are based out of like Dallas, California, Northern California, LA, Minnesota, Chicago. Um, I went, took a look at the units. I didn't have a mechanic with me. I was advised that sometimes you want to have a mechanic with you. It
Wait,
doesn't
hold, hold,
have
hold,
to be
hold.
new.
Wait. You talking about having a mechanic ride with you on your
Absolutely.
routes?
Absolutely.
Really?
No. Look,
Oh, okay,
searching
okay.
for the truck
Yeah.
that you'd like to possibly finance or buy, however you want to take that,
Oh,
whatever,
okay,
however you want to
okay.
approach it.
That's a whole nother twist.
Yeah. So
Damn.
taking
Okay.
him or her up there with you to take a look. I mean, because I was ignorant, I didn't know anything about the mechanical side of things. So,
Yeah.
once you turn it on and have them to kind of inspect the unit, it does not have to be new at all. Not everyone is prepared financially, to just step onto a lot and buy a new unit. So I financed it. Financing is definitely a way to go, but depending on, what kind of bank you use and how you want to approach it, some people may finance it through the company that the dealer has uh, been working with in the past, or if you're dealing with, say, for example, a credit union,
Mm-hmm.
they give, better rates.
Yeah.
And you may want to get the check cut before you even hit the lot and handle it from that approach. So once I got it financed, we figure out what my down payment would be based on
Uh-huh.
my credit.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs perfect credit.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
people are fearful thinking that their credit won't be good enough to make it happen. It is. It is. I didn't have the greatest credit at that moment,
Uh-huh.
but I was able to drive off that lot with my first unit. And at the end of the day, the only difference is you'll have a higher down payment. And if you
Yes.
can partner with someone or take out a loan or even take advantage of a grant, something similar to what I mentioned earlier, you can
Mm-hmm.
still make it happen and kind of build from there because the unit will pay for itself.
No question. Also, now is there any gripe in the trucking industry, meaning that we're going from gas to electric?
We are. We are. And right now, I think based on the information I came across,
Mm-hmm.
Pepsi is testing some of the Teslas, the electric Tesla semis that have been available as of early December, actually. So they're going through that process right now to try and figure out what the challenges are going to be when it comes to that. Um, they're a lot more expensive, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of benefit in it as well. But again, it all depends on where you are financially and what your resources are looking like.
Yeah, because we definitely gonna go electric. That's inevitable because we
Mhm.
done messed up the planet, and we don't want to come to the to the resolve where Mother Nature decides. We don't want to do that, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
well,
Stay on it.
I will say this, B-Dub, the biggest um, responsibility you have, when running loads or when it comes to any unit that you may own,
Yeah.
the biggest expense has always and always will be fuel.
Yes.
And that will change the game, to be honest with you, when it comes to the electric unit that can drive up to 500 miles before you have to power that up again, charge it again. So that's going to be major. But again, there's a price tag to it.
Oh, yeah. Somehow they're going to get their money on that electricity. So
Absolutely.
no question. Woo. Boy, greed is everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Now, okay. How I won't put this some way, because I don't want my married men out there to get in trouble or anything like that. Not saying that you're married or anything. My question is this, right? I always I don't know. I always intrigued with this idea. Somewhere, some areas, women are able to get paid doing certain things, meaning that on the road there's a whole lot of loneliness. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where are some of the good major cities where hey, I've been on the road for about 18 hours straight. I need to pull over to a little truck stop and see if I can get some good action. What are the good cities at? There's no way that's happening up in Wyoming and Utah, right?
No. Unfortunately, I'm not denying that it does exist.
Yeah.
I've never been really privy to that kind of experience.
Okay.
Or even
I'm just
watching
thinking,
someone else, but they're out there though.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's a pimping association where the pimps, like, hey ladies, hey, we got to be up here at this truck stop in Utah at 10:30 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
They are. I'll tell you what. There was one particular location I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I was in Charlotte.
Okay. The South, no doubt.
I was at a pilot off of 85 in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was trying to go to sleep. I just pulled in, and there was a strip club next door. So I can only imagine, what the conversation was when all you had to do was take about 10 steps to the right and head to the truck or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I noticed was there was a situation where there was about 3 gentlemen stepped to the truck, and there was a female with them. And 2 of the gentlemen got on the guy's truck, and I noticed there was a squabble. It was a fight inside the semi, inside the cab. And I'm like, wow. So I figured it clearly, it had to have been some kind of transaction going wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because once I saw, the rumble, it stopped. 2 of the guys that were on there left, and then the gentleman who owned the truck got off, called the cops. So I'm like, well, if it was a transaction, I don't know. I can't imagine him wanting to call the popos.
Yeah.
And so he, had a conversation with them about what went down. I don't know if he was getting robbed or whatever, but she was there. Whoever, one of the dancers was there.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that there had been some things taking place, but it goes down. It does. I just try to stay, away from anything that's going to, put my business in jeopardy. To be honest with you, my business and my livelihood in jeopardy. That's just what I try to do and make the best decision for myself, because I have to remind myself who I'm doing it for. Yeah. And I'm doing it for my daughters. So anything that's going to shed negative light on my business, from a Department of Transportation standpoint, or anything from, anything along the lines of something illegal, I'm not the guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no question. You got to figure out if it's going to be constructive or non-constructive. No shout out to Neely Fuller. Hey, the only reason why I brought that up, because some of these rigs, man, are decked out, meaning there's showers, there's whole compartments where they got beds up in these joints, man. A lot of people don't understand some of the, I would say, the decked out trucks. Can you give us on insight, man, some of, what's some of the flyest rigs that you have seen?
I've seen some. It's kind of like, it almost appears to be like a 1-bedroom apartment. I can't recall the technical name for it, but it's a huge, like it probably holds. I wouldn't doubt if it has a king bed in it. It's that
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
King bed. I heard a bed that's probably somewhere along the lines of a king. There's a shower. There's kind of a kitchen area with the sink and an area to cook in as well. I don't know what it's called. You can probably Google something about, in reference to the largest semis out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm sure to come up. But you have some that just have two bunk beds,
Yeah.
like the ones that I own.
Yeah.
But you also have the ones that they drive locally that have no beds in them. So it goes from having none to having the king bed option, and that comes with a price tag as well. So
Yeah, no question, man. Because going back, like I said, I'm a Marvel fan, and also I'm a Transformers fan. And when I seen Optimus Prime, I didn't know he was Peterbilt. Didn't know that.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
that's
like,
probably a brand.
okay. Optimus, Peterbilt. Okay, all right there. So y'all didn't know I had some truck game knowledge. No question. It ain't
It's
all
probably
city life
Peterbilt.
over here. To tell you the truth, I'm from the country. I don't like to admit it. I'm from the country. Oh, I did not
Yeah.
like it. I was wondering why. Why are we in the country, Pops? Why? The city's right there.
Yeah.
Why are we here? But anyway.
You probably wanted a peace of mind.
Oh, well, oh man. Oh no. You can't. You can still have a peace of mind in the city.
True.
Especially when there's some brothers and sisters there. But in any case,
That's true.
had to bring that out. Shout out to Transformers, Optimus Prime, Peterbilt, no question. And I noticed you were talking about a truck stop. What was it, Pilots?
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to the owners of Cleveland Browns. I want to say they do run Pilot.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's how he got all his money.
Okay.
How am I gonna forget my owner's name? Because we don't win. That's why. When we win, I might remember your name. Okay, but we don't win. All this truck money you getting, you ain't investing in this dog pound. Come on. But yes, they own like all the Pilots and all that, like that stuff. The truck business game. That's where they get the majority of their money.
It's interesting you say that.
They're huge. That's huge, right?
Hearing you say that triggers one of my thoughts, and actually a part of my motivation for doing what I'm doing and how I go about it with the educational pieces online. Considering, young, gentlemen like yourself and I, ex-athletes.
I appreciate the young, no doubt.
Yeah, when I talked about, the exit strategy from the game, there's something that's extremely important to me, and I want to be able to inspire, athletes. Clearly, a lot of African American or men of color that represent, sports all across the country. But I think one of the biggest mishaps has been us not being prepared after the game, after the ball stops bouncing. So I want to be able to inspire brothers, sisters as well, to sit down and devise an exit strategy while you're playing. You can actually start getting money, passively, even in the transportation industry, by buying units and placing them under someone's umbrella like myself, where you don't have to be involved in the day-to-day activity and still, see your profit on a weekly basis while you're still playing. And you can continue to build up until the point to where you call it quits. Walk right into your situation and be able to manage things from afar at that point. So it's definitely options out there. Being over the road is not the only one. You have, real estate options out here when it comes to transportation. You have, you can start your dispatching companies. That's an option as well. Have dispatchers dispatching not only your trucks, but other trucks that operate under your umbrella as well. So there are several different ways to get it where you don't have to be involved on the daily basis, and you can get the money passively.
No doubt. That's a good thing, man. I think a lot of us, we get caught up not having any type of plan, let alone an exit strategy.
Correct.
Like you were saying, with the technology and the wealth of information that we have out here, we should definitely open our minds and also our actions as far as, like you were saying, having some type of strategy, some type of plan, because sports is a young man's game. At some point, hopefully, God willing, that we're going to get older, and hopefully, we're not making these type of decisions later in life. Regardless, as long as you make a decision in a positive role, positive way, that's fine. But the
Correct.
sooner the
The
better. You know
sooner
what I
the
mean?
better. Yeah,
No question. The sooner the better.
no
Now
doubt
let's
about
talk. Let's talk about some of your classes or the courses that you're starting up.
it.
Go ahead and entertain us as far as you know what we should look out for as far as your classes and your courses are concerned.
The course that I have available right now, it's an introduction to trucking course that provides motivated men and women with the foundational tools to become independent professionals. Pretty much using my experiences and everything that I've learned along the way in my six and a half years, and what that entailed in terms of the sacrifices that I had to make, how important it is to make decisions at certain times, and a lot of the resources that you need to tap into to be able to make sound, well-informed decisions so that you can cut the ownership piece. You can accomplish that in a lot shorter time than I did. It took me 3.5 years to reach my ownership status, but there are opportunities out there if you have the right information where you can accomplish that within the first year. And I didn't even understand when I got into the game how I could develop that an opportunity to passively put some things in place and be able to, be in ownership, but not physically involved in the day to day. I didn't understand that. I had no idea that that was an option. And then I eventually found myself doing that exact same thing with a few of the corporate companies out there. And when I saw what how they had things structured and how I was, operating under their umbrella, although I was in ownership, and how the percentage split on every single load, and how all of that fell in place,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I learned a lot about how I could develop that same format myself. So the introduction to trucking course right now,
Mm-hmm.
but real soon we'll be launching actually a grant writing, a complete grant writing course.
That's big.
Not everyone has the capital to just go to a truck lot and
Mm-hmm.
write a check, or
Mm-hmm.
not everyone has the credit to get great rates through a credit union or what have you, or even can afford the down payment.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to encourage people to be in ownership, to be an entrepreneur, but the reality of it is there's a lot of young men like you and I, young women as well, that aren't in position financially to just make the necessary sacrifices to start up in business. So we'll be launching within the next, I'm thinking, 2 weeks,
Okay.
a grant writing course. It's comprised of about 5 to 6 hours of information from A to Z on the exact steps you need to take to complete an actual local, federal, or even state level, to be able to complete that and accomplish that on any of those levels. So those are the two right there, and then eventually down the line we'll be coming with an owner operator course uh, that pretty much focuses on becoming an owner operator, because you have the financial resources. You can make the sacrifices financially to jump right in without having to start at the bottom like I did.
No doubt, man. I'm sure the work is going to be great just because your character and how you're thorough on things, and this is going to open the doors for a lot of people, open up their minds too, man. And I'm glad that you're presenting some type of product and service like this because we all could use that help. Like you're saying, man, a lot of people, this will help them not go through the pitfalls and the steps that you went through.
Hmm.
I think that's good, man, because that's what the whole thing is about, man. Each one teach one, and trying to make
Correct.
this journey a little better for those, coming after us or even being
Absolutely.
alongside of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So man, keep doing that, man. I think that's a great thing, man. As far as um, getting courses ready for those who want to deal with the trucking industry, man,
Hmm.
because you're gonna change lives, man. No
I look
doubt.
forward
You're
to
gonna
it.
change lives, man.
That's
And
a part of my motivation, B, to be honest with you. Like, that's a huge part of my motivation, because I know it's extremely difficult to get information from people when you really
yes,
trying to grind and elevate. A lot of people really and truly don't want to give up information because, quite frankly, they're in competition. I don't feel that way.
yeah,
When I think about the wealth gap in this country,
uh-huh.
I can't help but be reminded of the systemic games that are being played with people's real lives, keeping us from opportunities through redlining and a lot of other ways they're going about keeping us financially oppressed.
Yeah,
And I think the more that we can communicate, share information, when we come across good ideas, and as a community and as a collective, we can kind of um, jump on board and elevate together. I think the more that we can do that, the more that we can compete when it comes to the wealth gap, and we already know how ridiculous that is.
yes, and not only that, ownership. You
Correct.
know, it's lovely hearing that. You form your corporation, and under your corporation's umbrella, you are able to hire
Hmm.
people. I mean, because a lot of people fail to realize that, as far as concerning black businesses, even though you might have one employee, that's a great thing. But if we
Hmm.
can get two, three, four, and five,
Hmm.
it's even better.
Hmm.
That's great.
Hmm.
And I think that's a lot of things that we need to understand. And I know back in our days, we used to do all types of building on what we need to do. But once you're out there being a job provider,
Hmm.
it changes lives, man.
Correct. Correct.
Changes lives.
Yeah. So it's crucial. It's crucial, man. And I just want to do the best that I can to duplicate myself. I made the necessary sacrifices, and then I have kind of it worked out for me because I have the pedigree in education. When it comes to facilitating courses, I'm able to do that and do it comfortably. So I want to use the experience and the gifts that I have, uh, and use it in a way that I see it as giving back to the community. So, like I said, the more of us can jump on board with understanding the idea that being in ownership is the best way for us to compete when it comes to the wealth gap, and all the better. And then we can then elevate within the community, and be able to develop those things that we need the most, like banks and grocery stores and schools and so on and so forth, so we can be self-sufficient.
No
That's
question.
pretty much the only thing I'm getting. And more importantly, when we talk about leaving a legacy,
No
that's something
question.
that you know I can't even explain to you about the importance of leaving a legacy, and how I think it's safe to say most of us didn't have these type of conversations surrounding legacy, and
Exactly.
growing up, growing up in the
Yeah.
hood,
Yeah.
that wasn't something I experienced. I never even, understood it truly until I became an adult.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, you cannot pass down a 9 to 5. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And although we may be doing well individually, but I think it's important to hustle for our last name, and not our first name.
No
Uh,
question. No question.
like Name Dash says. I
No.
fully agree with that.
No question. And just building upon what you're saying, you see it on the screen. Hashtag the Sellers Foundation. Myself, along with other family members, we organized a foundation basically based off our family name, the Sellers
Gotcha.
Foundation.
That's good
Obviously,
stuff.
as you can see in the background, with the Sellers Foundation, this coming fall semester,
Mhm.
23-24 school year, the Sellers Foundation, we're doing a Dr. Lee Sellers scholarship. We're basically doing two scholarships, $2,500 a piece, to Wilberforce University in Wilberforce, Ohio, an honorary, an honorary, in honoring, I won't get it right, ladies and gentlemen, in honoring our ancestor, one of my uncles, Lee Sellers. He is a Wilberforce alum, and what we're doing is providing a scholarship in his name to his alma mater. So definitely be on the lookout of that. So, like you said, we're just trying to build something to leave beyond to the youth and also other family members that are associated with us so that we can give back. It's time, man. I think
Absolutely.
in our family, we have a lot of people doing things where that can be beneficial to others, and that's why we're laying down this foundation. Starting with the scholarship, there's some other things we got lined up in the near future. We'll definitely make that announcement. But definitely, if you want to contribute to the Sellers Foundation, you can always use our mobile banking, Cash App, $ the Sellers Foundation, PayPal at the Sellers Foundation, and Venmo, the Sellers Foundation. Donate. We need to know who it is. Definitely go ahead, spend some of that money, because basically we're building the minds of our future. And with that, we're going to give, like I said, 2 scholarships, $2,500 apiece, to a couple Wilberforce University students in Wilberforce, Ohio. So stay tuned. We're going to do some promotions. And also, we're doing a dinner back at the home base, Newark, Ohio.
Okay.
April 15th,
Mm-hmm.
2023, 8 to 5 p.m. Stay tuned. We'll let you know. We're going to kick it off. So, yeah, man, it was definitely important. Yeah, man. Hopefully, man, I want to get with everybody, too. We're going to discuss this when we meet up in March. I think that we can do some type of alum scholarship for Colorado State, man. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not, man? You know, we talk about it. You know, that's where we all met. That's what helped us grow into the young adults that we are now. I do like to say young adults. And yeah, man, we people be surprised, man. We had a lot of deep conversations, man, on campus, on the road. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it was a great thing, man. No doubt, man. It was a great thing. So be on the lookout, man. And hey, man, definitely appreciate everything that you're doing. You know, keep it up. Definitely would love to have you back on the show. You know, you're welcome anytime. Definitely once when your courses get up and going, man, we definitely would love to have you on, even with, you know, you or some people under your umbrella, your wing, man. We'd love to interview them and, you know, get their knowledge and input on the trucking industry, man.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. And definitely you can find the courses at Intrigue, which is INTRIGUE, services for short. So it's SVCS, Intrigue, SVCS.com. And that's where you can find anything related to what we're doing educationally. So,
yeah, man, definitely, man, because, you know, I'm in the transportation game myself. I'm going to, you know, move up eventually. I'm trying to get me one of those cargo vans, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's one of my next moves, man. You know, get a cargo van, get at least about, you know, 2-3 maybe pallets up on there and see where it go, man. You know, keep it local. Man, I won't mind driving from, you know what I'm saying, Orange County to San Diego, Orange County to LA, Orange County to the Bay. Hey, it's all good. It's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, you know, until you build, that's what it is, you know?
Yeah, man.
You
So
can't skip steps, so.
Yeah, man, I definitely be hearing about, you know, like they call the last mile drop-offs, things like that, because I'm sitting here seeing it. We all see it. Definitely on the road, you see these long beds, and they might have 1 or 2 crates. These companies don't want to rent out that trailer. They'll go ahead and get one of them transit vans. And see, that's where I figured I could come in.
Absolutely.
Come in and do my thing. You know, with UPS and Amazon and all these other carrier services, why not? You know, they're looking for more drivers too. So why not be a driver and own your own transportation?
Absolutely.
Why not? I don't know if I want to get in them big old rigs. I'll leave that to you big boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefit to it as well, making the right decisions. You know, there's tax breaks, you know, making purchases in your business name. There's just a lot of maneuvering that you can do once you develop that LLC. And, you know, like I say, it's about developing and building under the business name at that point. So it's something that we can all take advantage of. And that's a part of the benefit.
That's always good, man. Well, hey, man, we're gonna close it out. Once again, man, thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure to hear from my one of my aces, man. This was my 3-man on the squad. You know what I'm saying? I just throw it up and let him do things, man, because he had his 6 handles. And like I said, if he caught you slipping, he was dunking on your ass. And he'll let it be known. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man.
I miss those days, B.
Oh, man, it was good.
I do.
I hated the practice. I ain't going to lie. I was not a practice player. I hated the practice. But as far as prior up and to game day, oh, man, loved it, man. It was, man, it was fun, man. It was
Before
fun.
we go, who's your favorite squad to play against and why?
My favorite squad to play against
in the WAC.
Mountain West at the time was Utah.
Really?
Yeah, man. I always had a good game against Utah, man.
In Utah or what?
In Utah at home. Well, you know what? I looked at it because Utah was always ranked, right? Mm-hmm. Rick Majerus, Hall of Fame, legendary coach.
Correct.
And, they had some California kids on there too. You know what I mean?
Brandon Jesse.
Yeah. Even Andre Miller at the end.
Andre Miller.
Yeah.
Squad.
Yeah. So, I always looked forward to them because they was the big boys that is our concern. I was concerned in the conference. They was always ranked. And like I said, hell, the arena was lovely. You know what I'm saying? And then I had an uncle lived in Salt Lake City. Yes. I had an uncle lived in Salt Lake City too. So that was a chance for him to see me ball. But man, Utah, man, because that arena, it always held NCAA tournament events. You know what I mean? But that's one team I always played well against, I think. And, I always liked playing them, man. That was the best competition. That's how I looked at it. They were the top tier competition.
That's what's up. Yeah,
what about you?
They were one of my favorites as well. But I really enjoyed playing against Hawaii, even though we got beat down in Hawaii.
Always. They were like the Lakers in Hawaii.
Yeah, Phil Handy did work. I'm running after this guy, but I learned a lot from Phil, man. So he helped me elevate my game from giving us the business. So I love playing against Hawaii. Yeah, man. And I love playing against New Mexico. In New Mexico, that was always, it was bananas in there.
Pit. They put us on. Matter of fact, New Mexico, they're ranked right now, and they put it on us the last week. CSU was down there. I thought we was all right. But they got Mashburn Jr. down there.
What?
Yeah. Mashburn Jr. is down there in New Mexico, and I think
Is he at the 4?
Nah, man, he's a guard. He's smaller than Jamal.
Wow.
He just got enough game too. And I want to say there's a House son. They're like a 1-2 combination as far as House and Mashburn Jr. But I want to say it's like there's a House son down there, I want to say, in New Mexico. No doubt. The Pit, man. Of course, man.
Yeah,
the Lobos, they were something else. They had a couple pros.
BYU also, but they had about 20 to 23K up in there. It was always good silence.
That floor was bouncy.
Yeah, it was.
That floor was bouncy.
That's what I loved about it. Yeah, so, that's what's up.
Hey, no question,
It's been a pleasure, B. Definitely.
Hey, no question, man. Appreciate you, man. Go ahead once again, give us your handles, man, so people can contact you.
Intrigue Services on IG. I'm at Intrigue Services. Same thing with Facebook, Intrigue Services. And the website is at Intrigue, INTRIGUESVCS.com. That's where you can find the current course of Introduction to Trucking and the soon-to-be grant writing process.
No doubt. Always a pleasure, man. Well, you know how it is on the B-Side Podcast. You can definitely go to our website, thebsidepodcast.com. You can also check us out on IG at the B-Side Podcast Q. Once again, the B-Side Podcast Q on Instagram. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We also got some merchandise on I want to say to Alec Roberts. Yes, AlecRoberts.com. You go to Alec Roberts, AlecRoberts.com. IG, it's at Alec Roberts. If you want to check me out, just go to IG, AR Sales 2 on IG. And I want to say, where is it? I see it up here. I did see it. If you want to check me on Instagram, Twitter. Check me out on Twitter at Sales, at Rob_B Sales. And like I said, we got some things coming up. Check us out at thesellersfoundation.com, thesellersfoundation.com. We got some things going on. Hey, but with that, man, that's everything here. Thanks again to our guests. You know what I mean? Delmont Madison. Always, up, man.
It was good catching up.
Thanks again. Always. And with that in mind, hey, we'll check you guys out to another time, next episode of the B-Side Podcast. So, like we always do, until next time, y'all. Peace, 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 peace.
Right, B.
Yes, sir.